For those of you who do not appreciate Zoom, this is where you're going to find out this is an outstanding program. If you weren't paying attention to what Gloria told you about Zoom, this is all the more reason to be attentive. Our keynote speaker tonight is Kimberly Myers. Hailing all the way from Kansas City, Missouri, Kimberly has been a Toastmaster member since 2004. She's held offices and served as Toastmasters at the international region and district levels. Currently, she serves on the Toastmasters International 2020-2021 Region Advisor Team. Region advisors serve as mentors and guides to support the districts while helping to increase their capacity to build membership and new clubs. They are also an essential link between the districts and the world headquarters. Kimberly states, "It is vital to keep members positive through the year and build a pipeline for club growth. She enjoys the challenges and loves working with teams to help them help themselves." Kimberly's presentation for us tonight is entitled, "Building a Healthy Team for a Thriving Hybrid Club During and After the Pandemic Crisis." Please welcome our own Region 4 Advisor, Toastmaster International, Distinguished Toastmaster, Kimberly Myers.
Thank you very much, Jason. I hope you can all see my slide deck, and we'll see how nicely I can handle my own slide deck this evening.
Yes, we can.
Great. I'm Kim Myers, and as Jason says, I do come from Kansas City, Missouri, just for those of you who'd like to know. I'm currently supporting districts 622, which is my home district, 64, 99, and 106. But I'm a member of a team, and my team is also comprised of my co-region advisor, Matt Brandstetter, who supports districts 24, 26, 42, and 78. And how can I forget our international director who helps support the strategic arm from international, Mr. Larry Merrick. With that, we're going to talk a little bit this evening about building a healthy team for a thriving hybrid club during and after the pandemic crisis. And I know we're all a little sick of hearing about COVID and the fact that I may not get to come up and do a district visit and visit any of my 3 Canadian districts, but that's just the way of the world. This evening, we're going to talk about how our meetings have changed, the committees that you can build for your teams, and the importance of having excellent meetings. Seems pretty simple, doesn't it? It's not always as simple as it seems. Our objectives this evening are to identify how the world has changed. I think we're in that situation this evening as we're meeting in a club officer training or a Toastmaster Leadership Institute for the first time virtually, which is something that we've been asking world headquarters for years. Now we just get to prove that it works and that our clubs are successful, and I think we can manage to move forward. We're going to analyze what clubs can do to build healthy committees, healthy teams, and keep their members happy. And then we're going to create a safe environment with excellent meetings. In chat, can you tell me how many bullet points there are for a Toastmasters promise without looking it up? How many bullet points? Ooh, I'm seeing 12, 8, 10. 10 is the correct answer. And the reason that I bring up the Toastmasters promise is it's something that we forget pretty quickly after we sign our membership form. When you were brought into a Toastmasters meeting as a baby Toastmaster and signed that first application, your Toastmasters promise was on that application. And your Toastmaster promise says, as a member of Toastmasters International and my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits of Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules of all Toastmasters educational and recognition programs, and finally, to act within the Toastmasters core values of integrity, respect, service, excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities. And I know you're saying, Kim, why did you bring up the Toastmasters promise? Well, all of you are all here for a reason. And when I first became a club officer, I had not a clue what I was doing. It was 2004. I was a brand new club member in a brand new club without a club sponsor or mentor officially. And they needed a VP PR. I had no idea what that meant, but someone volunteered me for it. And even though I was voluntold, it met my Toastmasters promise. Next thing I knew, I was in a Toastmasters Leadership Institute session outside of my club, really beginning to learn what was going on in Toastmasters. And that's where I really dipped my foot into leadership. I honestly joined Toastmasters, unlike most people, not to build my speaking confidence. I'm a pretty confident speaker, but I was coaching a high school speech and debate team as a secondary gig, and I felt like it was a way to walk the talk. And yes, in front of my high school speech team, I went 1 second over at a district international speech contest. Yeah, way to go, Kim, to be disqualified. But we all learned from it. So we talk about leadership in the new norm. And you'll see on this picture that we see someone climbing a hill or a rocky mountain and a bunch of people helping them up. And that's what happens in our clubs. And your district and your clubs came through amazing crisis in March when the world seemed to shut down. We found that our clubs made that adaptation to Zoom meetings pretty easily and pretty quickly. You know, we still have some people who we forget to unmute ourselves when we come back from a breakout room, or we can't find when we're on our iPad where to do the annotations. But for the most part, we've made that adaptation, and your district helped you accomplish that. And we are assuming that things may be this way for a while. And so consequently, we may not be meeting in person for a considerable length of time. It seems like in this 6-letter word of chance that it holds so much hidden behind it. You know, we change that one letter from a C to a G, and chance becomes change. And this is our opportunity really as Toastmasters leaders to take that forefront in making our clubs healthy in a new world. We're those first people to step into that environment, and it's a challenge. It really is a challenge. Was it easy when you did your first Zoom meeting? Probably not. It certainly wasn't for my club. We had several club meetings where we were trying to figure out how we even share the link to the meeting. People would get frustrated and then not come. So, as your forward-thinking team did from Gloria's presentation, we're going to talk a little bit about what your executive teams can do to make for a happy, healthy club. And we're going to make that word chance become change, permanent change. So the role of the executive team. Yeah, we all know you're all here. With the exception of your immediate past presidents, all of your executive team members should be attending a club officer training. And we do this for several reasons. And it really is to help you do your jobs much easier. Your district leaders just finished 4.5 days worth of virtual training. Aren't you glad you're only doing several hours? But the one thing I want to caution especially new leaders or leaders that get used to leading and become more of bosses, more of that dictator type of leader, is something from Richard Peck, our international president, who says, leaders should not be the center of attention. They should be the epicenter of action. So in essence, it's not all about us as leaders, it's about the members of our clubs. We're going to take a little bit of a look at the membership life cycle. Gloria mentioned the moments of truth, and I'm so glad she did, because I did not have time to talk about moments of truth. But moments of truth is that key action that every club should be doing once, maybe even twice a year, to get feedback from the members in what you're doing correctly or incorrectly. It really becomes your SWOT analysis. So we're going to take a look at the membership life cycle. And if you notice on the left-hand side where it says awareness, recruiting, and onboarding is that new member experience. It's what we do to bring members into our club and to onboard them. And on the far right-hand side is that non-renewing or paper member. So can anybody answer in chat, do you have paper members in your clubs? And what impact do they have on your clubs? Oh, Ed says yes, and Shen says no. It's interesting. Sometimes you don't even know if you have paper members until you look at the roster and realize that they haven't attended a meeting in a year, but they keep turning their dues in over and over and over. Well, we need to re-engage those members, because it's not good enough to have 20 members if 2 or 4 of them are paper members, because our members still get tired, don't they? And I agree with Maria, who says most clubs do. That's totally and 100% true. Now, in the center of this circle around engage is what happens during a club meeting. So we onboard our members, we educate them, we get them to participate. As Gloria says, we get them to do that icebreaker speech. And everything boils down to recognition and appreciation. It seems like most members leave because they're never recognized or appreciated. So sometimes it means picking up the phone and calling them if you don't see them, reactivating and re-engaging them. Once they've gotten through the initial part of the program, then they become brand ambassadors. We retain them. And then you have those members who've met their goals and want to do something more. So I'm often asked, how come someone would want to do a repeat Distinguished Toastmaster? Can you answer in the chat feature why someone would really want to become a multiple Distinguished Toastmaster? Yes, the learning doesn't stop. There's always more to learn. To support the teams, because practice makes perfect. As you can tell, I'm not perfect. Continue improvement, changing of focus. I'll admit that many of us now are going deeper into learning, and with Pathways, we're really learning new skills and new paths to learning. And this is where Toastmasters really often fails to achieve. Is once somebody has achieved a goal, we need to keep them going through the full circle over and over again. Learn to multitask and learn as much as you can. Yes, most of us in Toastmasters are continuous learners. That's what we really enjoy doing. So as an executive team, you need to be taking a look at this membership life cycle and figuring out where you can start building teams or activities that will engage your members. So for instance, in awareness, open houses, Gloria talked about, putting things on Meetup, Eventbrites. All of those activities will help your club be a stronger club. Why should you build committees? Can you answer in chat? Christine asked me where the membership lifecycle model came from. It came from World Headquarters. Lynn says one person can't do it all. Team building, it develops projects. Ooh, Linda said it offers leadership opportunities. And as Gloria said in our tagline says, we are an organization where leaders are made. And if you do not involve every member of your club in some activity, they tend to feel left out. Share workloads, play. You know, one of those activities that we don't talk about is a social committee. You know, ice cream socials. Who's going to bring, you know, cupcakes to a meeting? We need to have play. Who's going to set up the themes for the meetings? It creates connections between members, which increases commitments. And all of those are the right answers. And I will tell you as a leader in Toastmasters that the answers are in this Zoom meeting to help you know how to thrive in a hybrid world. As a VP Public Relations, what are a few of the committees that you could build? And go ahead and answer in chat. Ooh, cross-culture communication, says Ahmed. I like that. A social media committee. Facebook postings. Anyone else for VP PR? Newsletters. Yes, the traditional newsletters. Awards, website maintenance, poster making. Yes, all those are great things. Articles in the newspaper. Exactly. Instagrams, booths, phone committee to connect with past members. Hallelujah. Maybe something that's probably more for a VP membership, but I'm willing to go with you. Build and encourage Toastmasters branding. All these are correct answers. As a vice president membership, what are a few of the committees that you could build? Onboarding, yes. Hallelujah. Community involvement, campaign committee, yes. Demo meetings, mentorships, mentor assignments, yes. And can you do all this by yourself? No, the answer is you can't. And if you think you can, you are a little bit confused. Joseph asked I think it's a question, onboarding, and it's bringing that new member into the club, letting them know what the functionary roles are, getting them signed up and assigned to a mentor, finding out what their goals are. Contacting lapsed members. Bill, that's a great one. As a vice president of education, what are a couple of the committees that you could build? Pathways, themes, awards, goal setters. Exactly. And while I only put slides in for several of the roles, we all know that every single office in our clubs really does need a set of committees to help offload some of the work. You know, the president has a large work to do just holding things together. Oh, yes, speech competitions. Forgot about that one. Not sure how I missed that one. But they have a team. they really do have an inbound team, and a team that you should all be putting together, or at least if you haven't already done it, is a technical team to help work through the Zoom activities, someone to own the account or own the meetings and help facilitate and train. So, and when we talk about onboarding new members in the hybrid world, in the old days, we used to be able to sit next to that brand new member and really walk them through a meeting. Now you need to pair them with somebody and do some private chats so that they feel comfortable with someone in the club so that you can start doing that activity virtually. And I think you've all said this. Committees allow you to take on larger tasks that you cannot complete by yourselves. Now, at the district level and above, we sometimes say, and I'm going to just be really honest, that we're servant leaders, but we're not servants. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how you begin to put teams together. So going from doing to delegating. That official definition of delegation is entrusting a task or responsibility to another person. And for many, many of us, this is where those lessons in leaderships really come to fruition. I wish I had a picture of an egg instead of a light bulb, but when I think about baby leaders, I think of letting them fly free, that treatment of an egg really gently, that the baby comes out of it and then you have to let them learn to fly on their own. But it doesn't just happen. Delegation is more of an art. It is a little bit of a science. And what do I mean by that? Well, if I was going to ask someone to serve on one of my committees, I'm just not going to go up to them and say, hey, Pat, I hear you're really good at social media. Would you like to be on my committee? They're going to look at me and, they might say yes if I'm really lucky. In all likely, they're going to say, Kim, I don't have time. What I should be doing is identifying the tasks that I would like them to do, and then putting a time element to that. So instead, that conversation should be a little bit more like, hi, Pat, I have seen some of your social media posts, and I think you would be a great fit for my social media committee if you would like to lead that committee. Doesn't mean you have to do all the work yourself. You can put a team together because that's how you're going to get things accomplished. All I'd like to see is maybe 1 or 2 social media posts for the club every week, maybe every other week. And I don't think it's going to take you more than maybe an hour a month. Would you like to serve on my committee? And once you've given them that time element, they're going to be a little bit more likely to accept the role. So you start out little. And you always say, as one of our world champions speakers had said, Dhananjaya said, I see something in you. And that's how you grow future leaders, is seeing something in someone and then entrusting them to do the task. Now, those social media posts may not be the same social media posts you would have put out there, but you set an expectation and you let that person innovate that role a little bit by themselves. And then you hold them accountable and check in. It's actually that easy. So as John Maxwell says, if you want to do a few small things right, do them yourself. If you want to do great things and make big impact, learn to delegate. Learn to delegate. And this is true throughout our lives. Thank you, Jessica, not just in our Toastmasters lives. So we have to support our members of our teams. Support them 100%. When things don't go well, have real quick chats with them. Hold excellent, exciting meetings. You'll notice we do have Rena, Doughton, and Richard all in this picture. It was taken during training this last week, and you can tell we had a really good time. We turned cameras on, we took pictures, we had fun. Because if you can have fun meetings where every single agenda is filled, you will have great meetings. And Jock says, and I'm going to agree with him here, he says committees pose problems with limited numbers. That is true, and I'm not going to deny that. But I will tell you that the best leaders can come up with team members, even if it's just small teams, even if it's just 1 or 2 people, to help delegate and offset some of that work. And it becomes bigger the farther that you go out into the organization. But have fun. I will admit, I go to many, many club meetings. I'm in 5 clubs. And it's very rare that I have ever gone into a meeting as a Toastmaster and not had some agenda changes. The last 2 meetings that I've been as a Toastmaster in a virtual meeting, every single member who was assigned has shown up. They've been exciting meetings. They've been fun meetings. And I think that in reality, Zoom allows that to happen because people don't have to travel to their meetings. They can eat during the meetings. It allows us a lot more flexibility than when we were meeting in person. I miss meeting in person, but I'm not sure when that's going to end up happening again. Yeah, this is the difference. This was an in-person meeting. I think the people were engaged, but I think they were a little tired at this point in time. And this is what I tend to see sometimes in real face-to-face meetings. And I think we got complacent over the years. And now that we're moving into the Zoom world, we've had to make it exciting so that people stay engaged. So we've talked about how our meetings have changed. We've talked about committees for your teams. We've talked a little bit about delegating for success, but most of all, have fun meetings. And as you start your meetings in person, be careful. I will say we have a club down in Joplin, Missouri that started meeting in person, and they now have 2 members who have COVID, and because of work-related items. So be careful, have a good time, and thank you very much for inviting me to be with you.
Woohoo. Thank you so much. Kim, I have a question for you. I didn't see anyone come up with it. However, that's not the point. What about hybrid meetings? Have you tried those or heard anything about them?
I have, and our Joplin Club is doing hybrid meetings, and we already had several corporate clubs that were doing hybrid meetings where some of the members were at one location of a corporation here in town, and others were video conferenced in. We do know that if you're not a member of a corporate club, it makes it a little more difficult, but it can be done, and some of our clubs are doing it. So it will be interesting as we move forward.
Dale
Thank you.
mentioned the same thing. Sorry, Jason. I know that Dale, as I said, the VPM Dale, he had also mentioned that, asked if you do hybrid and in-person meetings.
Yep.
There's one quick question I noticed here too from Romel. How about outdoor meetings?
You know, at outdoor meetings, my advanced club does do an outdoor meeting every year. We do a picnic, and we have decided that we're going to do an outdoor meeting in September, even if it means that we're standing 6 feet apart from each other in a park. We just feel like it gives us that opportunity. I think we miss each other. And that's some of the Toastmasters aspect. We talked about it this weekend when district leaders weren't in Paris. They got to meet from at home in their office. Darn.
Thank you very much, Kim. We are truly thankful. I think you can see a number of these comments on the chat window saying we appreciate you.